All right, hello once again. Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. I've been going over the online PDF textbook, AppInventor2, Create Your Own Android Apps by Wolber, Abelson, Spertus, and Looney. We're in the middle of Chapter 12, RobotRemote, and as I mentioned at the beginning of this chapter, I do not have access to a robot, so I am going to build the interface and give you my very limited expertise as far as talking about this. So I built the interface in the last lecture, which is right here, all right? And we've unchecked scrollable already was, so we want the width of the list picker and the disconnect button to be set to fill parent. And they both are. The width and the height of the vertical arrangement, the buttons, etc., all set to fill parent. So this horizontal arrangement should have been set to fill parent, and now it is. All right. The left is, they're not set to fill parent, but you get the idea. All right. This button is set to fill parent. This button is set to fill parent. This button is set to fill parent, and fill parent. So I think that's everything they asked for. Set the text for the connection list picker to, oh, that's the list picker right there. Okay, so I didn't need this button right here. So let me get rid of that. So let's delete that. And this is going to be called connect list picker. And this is going to have the word connect on it. Oops, which with 3 dots afterwards. Okay, we'll again bump up the size and bold it. All right, so that's correct now, I believe, with the list picker. All right, forward button to up arrow, left to less than sign, stop to a minus sign, right to a greater than sign, and backward to a V. Boom, 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 boom. So that's all done. Set the font size to the connect list picker and connect button both 30. So make this 30, I'd made it 20. Make this 30, I'd also made that 20. All right. Set the font size for the forward button, the left button, the stop button, the right button, and the backward button, all to 40. All right, I'd made them 35, but hey, whatever they want. I believe that this isn't perfectly lined up here because of the widths that I put in. So if I put in the width here, and I do choose fill parent, and I put in this one, and I choose fill parent, and I put in this one, and I put in, or choose fill parent, that's about as centered as I think I'm going to get these. It's not too bad right now when you take a look at it. All right. So, in this application, it makes sense to hide most of the user interface until the Bluetooth is connected. To accomplish this, set the visible component of the vertical arrangement to hidden. Don't worry, in a moment we'll make the application reveal the user interface after it connects to NXT. Well, what I want to show you is this. All right, I'm going to come in and I'm going to connect. This will take a minute. I apologize. Let's connect to the emulator. And again, this, as it says, it may take a minute or two to set that up. What I want to do is, once we've connected, show you what it looks like with all of the components being visible. And then I'm going to turn around and make the, I think they said the vertical arrangement, make that invisible. So after we do that, I believe all that we'll be able to see will be the connect and the disconnect buttons, but we'll see in just a minute. So we want to set the visible property of the vertical arrangement to hidden. Next, we'll come in just a minute and we'll add the behaviors. As it says, you'll program the behavior for the app, and this is the rest of the chapter. These are the 4 things you want to do. Number 1, let the user connect the app to a robot by choosing it from a list. Number 2, let the user disconnect the app from a robot. Number 3, let the user drive the robot by using the control buttons, that is, the up, down, left, right, and stop buttons. And number 4, forcing the robot to stop when it senses an obstacle, and that will be the NXT ultrasonic sensor component. All right, so we'll take a look at each one of these in turn in just a minute. Okay, whenever I get this message, I have to reboot. So rather than rebooting, I'm going to go on and I'll reboot before I start the next tape. But I'm going to come in here into the vertical arrangement, and I'm going to set the visible property in there. All right, I will set that to hidden. All right. So this is what you can see right now. So the first component you'll add is connecting to the NXT. Again, I'll add all of these components, but I don't think, at least, I'll have a list of robots. So it's going to look very empty, for lack of better words. When you click the Connect List Picker, it will show you a list of paired robots. When you choose a robot, the app will make a Bluetooth connection to said robot. To display the list of robots, you'll need the Connection List Picker. Again, as it says, it looks like a button, but when it's clicked, it displays a list of items from which you can choose one. You'll use the Bluetooth Client 1 address and names block to provide a list of addresses and names of Bluetooth devices that have been paired with the Android. All right, because Bluetooth Client 1 is used with NXT components, it automatically limits devices included in there to those that are robots, so you won't see any other type of device such as a headset. So this is what we'll need. So I'm going to build all the stuff, but again, since I don't have any robots, it's not going to look like much when I go to run this. So we'll need the Connect List Picker dot before picking, which is triggered, as it says, when the Connect List Picker is clicked. We'll need the Set Connect List Picker dot elements2 to set the choices that will appear. And we need to set the Bluetooth Client 1 dot address and names to the address and names of the robots that are being paired or have been paired to Android. As mentioned here, when Connect List Picker is clicked, the Connect List Picker dot before picking event is triggered before the list of choices is displayed. To specify the items that will be listed, we have to set the Connect List Picker dot elements property to the Bluetooth Client dot address and names block. So again, I can do this. The problem will be it won't show me anything because I don't have any actual connections. So we want to when Connect List Picker dot before picking. And we want to set the Connect List Picker elements. And we want to set those to Bluetooth Client 1 dot address and names. All right, so there we go. Again, that was designed to let us connect to the NXT and to display a list of robots had we had them. Next, making the Bluetooth connection. After you choose a robot from the list, the app will connect to that robot via Bluetooth. If the connection is successful, the user interface will change. The connect list picker will be hidden, and then everything that's in the vertical arrangement will appear. If the robot is not turned on, the connection will fail and an error message will pop up. That'll be, I believe, what we put in that notifier. We use the Bluetooth Client 1.connect block to make the connection. The connect list picker.selection property, as mentioned, provides the addresses and names of the chosen robot. We'll use an if block, or an if-then block, to test whether or not the connection was successful. We'll add an else to it so that we have 3 different areas where blocks are connected. If, then, and else. The if area, as mentioned here, will contain the Bluetooth Client 1.connect block. The then will contain the blocks to be executed if the connection succeeds. The else will be the blocks to be executed if the connection fails. If the connection is successful, we will use the visible property to hide the connect list picker and show vertical arrangement 1, which contains the rest of our user interface. If the connection fails, we'll use the notifier 1.showAlert to display an error message. That's probably the only thing we'll be able to show. Table 12.4 lists the blocks we need for the behavior, and they're the ones that were just explained. So again, as mentioned here, after the robot is picked, the connect list picker 1.after picking event is triggered, as will be shown, or as is shown in here. The Bluetooth Client 1.connect block makes the Bluetooth connection to the selected robot. If it succeeds, the then block is executed, and if it fails, the notifier in the else block is going to be what is selected. So we did before, we put code in the connect list picker before picking. Now we want to put this code into the connect list picker after picking. Okay. As always, that's the previous video that I just produced. All right, so in the after picking here, we want an if then else block. All right, so that's that. We want to put in here a call Bluetooth.connect. And the address that we want to put in is our connect list picker dot selection. All right, and if that's true, we want to set the connect list picker visible to false and the vertical arrangement visible to true. All right. Then we need the else, which we'll call notifier1.showAlert. And the notice will be unable to make a Bluetooth connection right here. All right. You're probably excited about connecting to your Android to your NXT, but before we do that, we should also come up with a behavior for disconnecting. That way, as it says, we'll be able to test both connecting and disconnecting. When the disconnected button is clicked, The app should close the Bluetooth connection and the user interface should change. The Connect list picker should reappear, and the rest of the user interface components, meaning what's in the vertical arrangement, should disappear. All right, so the blocks are shown here, and it's everything that we just mentioned. So, for our disconnect button click, which I never renamed. Okie dokie. All right, so for our disconnect button click, and I'll tell you what, let's take these and let's collapse them both so we can come up with some more room on our screen here. So when the disconnect button is clicked, we want to call Bluetooth 1 client.disconnect. We want to set the connect list picker visible to true. And we want to set the disconnect visible to false. All right, I believe that's everything that's shown here. All right, driving the NXT. Let's check our time. We're at 17, so I will continue this in the next lecture.